and she told me that she had something to tell me. So she trying to go off or whatever. She's like, no, Lily, I want Lily to hear it, you know. When she told me Lily was not my daughter, Lily was standing right there because I will never forget the face that she had, the expression on her face when she said.
I had to go through the drama with Miss Johnson, up and down the road, following me.
How can she remember me chasing her up and down the street, but she can't remember father her child? Why am I living in her head rent-free, but she can't remember who fathered her child? He's always been there, song and dance she doing. I'm telling the truth.
Partying, you know what I'm saying? Then I get this call. I was like, I haven't saw this number in a while. You know what I'm saying? I wonder what she wants. Probably want to kick it, probably remember it's my birthday or something. And she's like, I'm pregnant. I'm like, what?
You won't believe this guy. Mr. Flowers opens the case by insisting he is not the biological father of 2-month-old Callie, despite having signed her birth certificate thinking he was. He's here to prove it with a DNA test.
Mr. Flowers, you have brought your ex-girlfriend to court today to prove that you are not biological father of her 2-month-old daughter, Callie. You claim you were into naming the baby and signing her certificate, and now the DNA test prove your case.
Here's where it gets spicy. Ms. Diaz hits back, saying Mr. Flowers' doubts are all about his jealousy and insecurity. She's totally sure that Mr. Flowers is the daddy, even though, yeah, she did have a fling.
Ms. Diaz, you claim that it was Flowers' jealousy and insecurity that drove you to have sex with another man, but you confident Mr. Flowers is your daughter's biological father. Now, waiting in the hallway is Mr. Bowman, the man cheated with, who Mr. Flowers believes Callie's dad.
Grab your popcorn for this one. Mr. Flowers shares a touching moment talking about his bond with Callie, thinking she knows he's her dad from her big baby smiles.
Every time I walk in the room, she smiles. Like, daddy is here. She smiled like she loved me. So it's like, I can't imagine Callie not being mine.
But you have doubt.
Yeah, I have doubt. Everybody gonna have doubt if you're sleeping around.
And now, you believe Mr. Bowman is Callie's biological father.
I believe it.
Oh snap, check this out. Ms. Diaz drops a bombshell, revealing the conception timeline matches up perfectly with when she was with Mr. Flowers. No one else could be the dad, she claims.
So Ms. Diaz, you say you have no doubt.
No, Your Honor. The doctor confirmed the time of conception was around the time that I had sex with Mr. Flowers. We were the only two people together at that time, first week of August, and there could be no other possibility but Mr. Flowers.
You gotta hear this accusation. Mr. Flowers lays it all out, questioning if Ms. Diaz is just using him because he's Mr. Reliable, while other potential dads are MIA.
Let's be honest, she sleep around. In my head, it's like, do you want me to be there because you know I'm gonna be the good father, or are you just gonna use me because you can't find these other dudes to be the father?
She's saying you're the father because you're the steady Eddie.
True story.
So Ms. Diaz, he says you were sleeping around. Were you? Is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
Didn't see that coming, did ya? In a startling revelation, Ms. Diaz admits to Mr. Flowers and the entire courtroom that there was another man during the time of conception she hadn't mentioned before.
When I first found out that I was pregnant and I called him on his birthday.
That you're pregnant, but it might not be yours?
Yes, Your Honor. I didn't realize
that's what you heard on your birthday that year, Mr. Flowers?
Partying, you know what I'm saying? Then I get this call. I was like, I haven't saw this number in a while. You know what I'm saying? I wonder what she wants. Probably want to kick it, probably remember it's my birthday or something. And she's like, I'm pregnant. I'm like, what?
This is where it gets really good. Mr. Bowman steps into the picture, confidently denying that he thinks Callie is his, despite the intimate timing. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss what's next.
Ms. Diaz has admitted in court that she was intimate with you and with Mr. Flowers about a week apart. Are you aware that you are one of the potential fathers?
Yes, ma'am, I'm aware.
Do you believe Callie is your child?
No, ma'am, I do not.
You did have sex with her, right?
We did have sex.
Without protection?
Without protection.
You understand that's how babies are made.
Brace yourself for this doozy.
Mr. Bowman, you are not father.
Buckle up. Here we go. The case of Davis v. Smith is called to order with a bang. Miss Davis is all set in the courtroom, ready to tackle the daddy dilemma involving her 2-year-old son, Davion, who might call one of 4 guys dad, including the defendant, Mr. Smith. The air is thick with anticipation as everyone's geared up to unravel this paternity pick. Stick around because the emotional roller coaster is just leaving the station.
Ms. Davis, you're in court today hoping to right your wrong. When your 2-year-old son, Javion, was born, he had 4 possible fathers, including the defendant. You hope today's result help you find your son's father, heal your broken heart. Mr. Smith, you argue that Ms. Davis actually told you you were not her son's father.
Grab your tissues, folks. Miss Davis steps up with a heart-wrenching story of her tough times bouncing between foster homes, lacking any father figure. This tough backdrop makes her desperate to pin down her son's dad today. Tears roll as she dives into her past mistakes and their impact on her quest today. Hold tight because the courtroom is about to turn into an emotional whirlwind.
I mean, Your Honor, as a child, I had a very bad childhood. I went 13 different foster homes. I've been to 4 different group homes, and I didn't grow up knowing who my father was until I was 18 years old. And my son's only 2. I mean, it's not his fault that I decided to make, well, practically a hoe of myself when I was of that age.
Just when you thought it was safe, Mr. Smith drops a bombshell of doubt about being Javion's pops, blaming it on their short-lived fling. He's really not into playing daddy without proof, given their fleeting fun times. This guy's raising eyebrows and defenses faster than you can say Maury. Wait till you see what's up next. It's a real plot twister.
And so why are you doubtful that you potentially could be Javion's father?
Because she said I wasn't, Your Honor.
She told you you weren't.
Yes. I asked if I could be the father, and she told me no, Your Honor.
I need you to walk me through that.
There are 4 potential fathers. Each of the individual men I actually met on a chat line within days upon each other.
Things get spicy now. The court squints at a calendar Miss Davis brought, which plots her escapades with the potential papas over the fateful conception period. It's like a treasure map, but instead of gold, it's paternity at stake. This crucial piece of paper might just hold the key to this mystery. Brace yourself. The next revelation is a doozy.
So this calendar shows you were intimate potential father number 1 on the 12th of November.
That would be my ex-boyfriend.
So this is a guy you'd been in a relationship with.
Yes, Your Honor.
For how long?
Maybe a steady year.
So you had sex with him on the 12th, 13th.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh boy, the plot thickens. Miss Davis spills the beans about her rocky revisit to her ex and the lackluster vibe with Mr. Smith. It's like a soap opera without the commercial breaks. Every word she drops adds layers to this tangled web of relationships and regrets. Up next, things get even juicier. Get ready for some bombshells.
After that week with Mr. Smith, yeah, I did go back to my ex. It wasn't satisfactory, so I didn't really feel the need to go back.
It wasn't satisfactory? The man in blue, potential father 3. Who's that?
Another man which intimate with only once.
Where'd you meet him?
Same place I met Mr. Smith on a chat line.
Cue the dramatic music. 2 of the contenders for daddy have been ruled out already, thanks to some earlier DNA detective work. Now it's down to Mr. Smith and the mysterious man number 4. The suspense is building. Will Mr. Smith dodge the daddy title, or is he the father? The truth is just around the corner, and it's a jaw-dropper.
Got number 1 and number 3 both tested, and they both came back negative.
So did him not being his child contribute to the relationship ending?
Caused a lot of issues. We just both called it quits.
And you also had potential father number 3 test.
Earlier this year, I actually got him tested because that's when I finally got in touch with him.
Hold on to your seats. This is where it gets spicy. Mr. Smith is squirming under the spotlight, kinda acknowledging he might be the dad, but really hoping he's not. As the tension mounts between him and Miss Davis, you can cut the uncertainty with a knife. The big reveal is up next, and it's gonna be a shocker.
After she told me, Your Honor, I was confused about it.
How long ago was that you told him, Miss Davis?
The first time or the second?
The first time?
First time my son was around 5 months old that I told him he was a possum.
When Javion was 5 months old?
Yes, Your Honor.
So it's been like a year and a half after that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you've only seen him 1 time?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, folks, here comes the moment of truth.
In the case of Davis v. Smith pertaining to 2-year-old Javion Davis, Mr. Smith, you are not Javion's father.
This next bit is a real doozy. Mr. Carroll is here to throw down the gauntlet, adamant that he is the biological father of 26-year-old Shirletha Carroll. He's challenging his ex, Ms. Goggins, who begs to differ. His whole heart believes he's daddy, and he's here to prove just that. Buckle up, because the emotional roller coaster is just getting started.
Mr. Carroll, you are here to prove to your ex-girlfriend, Ms. Goggins, that you are the biological father of her 26-year-old daughter, Shirletha Carroll. You say when your daughter was 5 years old, and told you another man was her father, but you refuse to believe.
Grab your tissues. It's getting intense. Mr. Carroll is all in his feels, swearing up and down that Shirletha is his. No matter what anyone says, his emotional plea paints a vivid picture of his unwavering belief. But keep your eyes peeled, because the next part will have you on the edge of your seat.
And I know I love Lily. I always trust Betty that she my daughter. Can't nobody tell me otherwise. This is my daughter.
All of these years, you never had doubt.
No. And truthfully, I've never been emotional like this. So it really means a lot for me. Find out now that Lily is my daughter. Because in my heart, I know she knows she's my daughter. I always told her she's my daughter.
Things are heating up in this kitchen. Ms. Goggins stands her ground, insisting that her brief fling is the real Papa Bear. This bombshell might just set everything up for an even bigger reveal. The suspense is building, and trust me, you'll want to stick around for the fireworks.
You say you had a one-night stand, and you're so sure that this one-night stand is your daughter.
With Jesse, we were basically broken up, and then I end up going to her father saying that I needed someone to talk to, so me and him end up having sex, and I knew that it was
the one-night stand,
the hairdresser.
Let the bickering begin. A fiery exchange erupts over who said what and about Shirletha's daddy drama. Ms. Goggins claims she spilled the beans right from the start, but Mr. Carroll is calling bluff. The truth is just around the corner, so don't touch that dial.
Mr. Carroll, when do you remember first time?
She never told me that. I tell you for a fact.
I
never
told you
me
that I am pregnant by someone else, and you didn't want it to believe it. Maybe it hurted you because I had sex on one someone else, but I've told you that I was not pregnant by you.
She never told me that.
Yes,
Never.
I did.
Never did she tell me that.
You're not ready for this jelly. Mr. Carroll recalls the gut-wrenching moment Ms. Goggins dropped the bomb right in front of their daughter, claiming he wasn't the father. The memory is vivid, the emotions raw. Hang tight, because there's more drama to come, and it's juicy.
Lily was 5 years old, and she came over my mother's house, and she told me that she had something to tell me. So she trying to go off or whatever. She's like, no, Lily, I want Lily to hear it, you know. When she told me Lily was not my daughter, Lily was standing right there, because I will never forget the face that she had, the expression on her face when she said.
I do recall we went over there one day, and it was a discussion about me not being his daughter.
Get ready for some feels. The court digs into the sentimental value of nicknames and family ties, with Mr. Carroll cherishing the nickname Lily he gave Shirlitha. It's a heartfelt testament to his emotional bond, regardless of the biological question mark. And guess what? The emotional twists are not done yet.
Lily was my daughter. That's my nickname. That Shirlitha is my family. That's her name from my family.
But it didn't come from you.
It's my people in my family, though.
It don't matter whose family it came from, Shirlitha.
After she was born, in the early parts of her life, you were there as her father.
I was there.
You was just there too, because you did not buy, so you just was there.
Here comes the big reveal.
Mr. Carroll, you are her father.
Here comes the spice. Ms. Allen rolls up, dropping a bombshell that after a quick fling with Mr. Childs, she ended up pregnant. Mr. Childs was cool with it initially, claiming daddy duties until his wife gave him the side eye. He flipped the script. Ms. Allen is here, all fired up, show that Mr. Childs is indeed her daughter's dad. Strap in, because the roller coaster is just leaving the station.
Miss Allen, you say that after a brief affair with Mr. Childs, you discovered you were pregnant with your daughter, Ms. Baylor. You say Mr. Childs acknowledged paternity until his wife convinced him otherwise. You intend to prove that Mr. Childs is, in fact, your daughter's father.
Next up, Mr. Childs takes the mic, admitting to the fling but calling out Ms. Allen for playing the field around baby-making time. He, backed up by his wife, denies being the dad, kicking off a fiery debate about who's who in the daddy zoo. Buckle up, the next part's a doozy.
Mr. Childs, you admit the affair with Ms. Allen, but say she was involved with several other people around the time of conception. You and your wife contend that you are not Baylor's father.
Hold on to your popcorn, folks. The heat turns up as Ms. Allen and Mr. Childs duke it out over why it took 2 decades to get a DNA test rolling. Ms. Allen sidesteps like a pro, hinting she wanted to dodge the drama, while Mr. Childs is all about clearing the air with a test. The saga continues, and you'll want to see what's next.
She should blame herself, Your Honor.
What?
Why did it take you 20 years to figure out that you should get a DNA test?
Because I didn't need to go through the drama.
How did you all even get together?
She was friends with cousins of mine. We got together like that. We ended up messing around or whatever.
You won't believe this twist. Dive into the backstory of their casual hookup turned baby drama. They connected over mutual friends and some post-game drinks, and boom, things got a little too cozy. Ms. Allen pins the conception on one blurry night. Stay tuned. The plot thickens from here.
So you all get together, you have mutual friends, you start having sex.
Well,
obviously unprotected.
It started like this. We had a friend that got killed. Me and him, I would call and check on him and things like that. Then one day, I just came through after football, and he wanted to ride with me. We went on and had drinks or whatever. That's when we had sex.
Just when you think you've seen it all, Ms. Allen throws shade, claiming Mr. Childs knew about the pregnancy from gossip. Mr. Childs is ready with a clapback, pushing for a DNA test to sort out the mess. It's a tangled web they weave, and you won't believe what comes out of the woodwork next.
And once you got pregnant, did you tell Mr. Childs pregnant and I think it could be yours?
Actually, it was rumors, so he came to me.
You spread the rumor. People are coming.
If I had family and I'm pregnant or whatever, but
why aren't you telling the truth? You didn't know father was.
Well, you knew that from day one.
Cue the awkward silence. Ms. Allen is in the hot seat, trying to justify why she's pointing fingers at Mr. Childs now, when there were other contenders for the title of dad. Her explanation is as clear as mud, adding more fuel to this dumpster fire of a paternity question. The courtroom's about to turn into a circus. Watch for flying accusations.
I was messing with him first.
How do you know?
From them. What you mean, how do I know that? I had to go through the drama with Miss Johnson, up and down the road, following me.
How can she remember me chasing her up and down the street, but she can't remember father her child? Why am I living in her head rent-free, but she can't remember who fathered her child? He's always been there, song and dance she doing. I'm telling the truth.
Tears and truth's time. Ms. Baylor steps up, sharing her heart-tugging story of piecing together her family puzzle through Facebook and whispers from relatives. She thought one man was her dad until the plot twisted at age 14. The truth is stranger than fiction, folks. Get ready. The emotional climax is just around the corner.
I was about 14 when I first found out my sister's dad wasn't my dad. Just hearing rumors, just going over my grandmother's house in Bowling Green would come to me like, "You're my cousin, TJ's your dad." I'm like, like, I don't know who TJ is. I went about it myself. I found him on Facebook, hit him up. I don't know what's going on, but I do actually want to know.
Did I ever once deny you?
Nah, you never did.
Never once.
And now, the moment of truth.
It has been determined by this court. Child, you are not the father.
So, get this. Ms. Hannon grew up thinking one dude was her dad until he dropped the bomb, saying, nah, not your pops. Fast forward, and on her deathbed, her mom whispers that another guy, Mr. David Dorsey, is the real deal. Phelan's here to sort out the daddy drama and find some peace.
Miss Hannon, you grew up believing one man was your father until the age of 13 when he said, I am not your daddy. Your mother then told you on her deathbed that another man, defendant David Dorsey, is your biological father and gained closure. And you have never spoken to or laid eyes on Mr. Dorsey, but will meet him for the very first time today.
You won't believe this bit. When Ms. Hannon tried inviting her so-called dad to a daddy-daughter dance, he was like, whoops, you got the wrong guy. Find your real dad. The crowd gasped so loud, you'd think it was a horror show. Buckle up, it's about to get even crazier.
I called him one day, the daddy-daughter dance, and instead of his response being, yes, I'll be there, it was, your mother's still lying to you, not your dad, you need to go find your real dad.
How cruel. I know that had to be hard.
Yeah.
Hold on to your popcorn, folks. Here comes the big moment. Ms. Hannon finally meets David Dorsey, the man her mom claimed was her bio dad. Mr. Dorsey strolls in, totally snubs her, and the air gets thick with awkward. You'll want to stick around to see how this plays out.
Mr. Dorsey, this young woman has waited many, many years to meet you. She's been told that you are her biological father.
Yes, ma'am.
You walked through the doors, you walked right past her, no hug. You didn't even really look at her, acknowledge her.
I acknowledged her. I looked at her.
You don't believe you're her biological father?
No, Your Honor.
Talk about a plot twist. Mr. Dorsey swears he doesn't remember Phelan's mom, like at all, knocking the possibility of him being the dad right out the park. Phelan whips out a photo of her mom, and still, nada. He's clueless. The courtroom's buzzing, and you won't want to miss what happens next.
Because I don't remember her mother at all.
You don't remember her mother.
I don't know her mother.
You are standing here at the defendant's podium in this courtroom today saying you know you cannot be Miss Hannon's biological father because you have never met her mother.
No, I haven't, Your Honor.
Miss Hannon, do you have a picture of your mother with you? Show that picture to Mr. Dorsey. Do you remember that woman?
No, ma'am.
Here's where it gets juicy. Phelan's godmother steps up and spills the tea, claiming she's seen Dorsey and Phelan's mom together back in the day. Mr. Dorsey's memory suddenly seems a bit fishy, right? The twists keep coming.
Well, Your Honor, me and Phelan's mother, Veronica, we worked together. Mr. Dorsey, I have seen him come to the job, bring her mom lunch. He still looks the same, but he had just got a little heavier.
You don't remember any of
Your
this?
Honor, I've never had sex with.
You worked at the fast food restaurant, though.
Yes, ma'am.
Feel the feels here, people. Phelan lays it all out, hoping Dorsey really is her dad. Because, hello, family ties. She's talking aunts, uncles, the whole shebang. Her plea tugs at the heartstrings. Big time. Grab your tissue. This emotional roller coaster isn't slowing down yet.
I don't know.
You don't
know? Like if he is my dad, I have sisters, I have brothers, I have nieces. If he's not, it's just me and my 3 kids. So
I love you. Okay, stop, just don't cry. Because like I told you before, you are my sister, period.
And just when you think you've seen it all, Phelan's supposed sis, Melody, is all in, calling Phelan her sister, no matter what the DNA says. It's like watching a soap opera, but better. Keep watching. The judge is about to drop some serious news.
And I see the beautiful bond you, Ms. Dorsey, and Ms. Hannon have formed as sisters, you believing and accepting and loving her as a sister.
I don't know about mother's infidelity, kid, or anything like that. Only thing I know is that Fallon is my sister. That's all I know, and that's all I care about.
And I think it's important to note that Ms. Hannon is standing there because she does want to know where she came from.
Here comes the moment of truth.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Dorsey, you are not the father.
Guess what just rolled into court today? At the beginning, Miss Sheets strolls in with a story wilder than a reality TV show. She's here to get a court order for a paternity test because, get this, her entire life she's been told 2 different dudes could be her dad. The judge, looking intrigued as ever, is all in for this roller coaster of a family drama.
Ms. Sheets, you are here petitioning the court to order the defendant to take a paternity test. Your entire life, you've been led to believe 2 different men were your father. But the defendant, Mr. Rhodes, of this only 2 months ago and has always believed is your father.
Talk about a soap opera twist. Mr. Rhodes drops a bombshell, but he only got the memo about the paternity test 2 months ago. He's been on the dad duty train, believing Miss Sheets is his kid all along, and he's not ready to jump off yet. He's all heart and conviction. He's laying it on thick.
Mr. Rhodes, you say a bomb was dropped on you. Plaintiff asked for a paternity test. You stand firmly on the fact that she is your biological daughter and feel there is no need for a DNA test.
In my heart, this is my daughter. I've been with her since she was born, 35 years. years and embedded in my heart.
To decide whether or not there is sufficient evidence to order a paternity test.
Here comes the plot twist. Miss Sheets whips out a birth certificate so mysterious it doesn't even list a dad. Like, hello? How's a girl to know who to call on Father's Day? This crucial piece of paper just deepens the plot soup we're stirring here.
And also I would like to submit this evidence. There is no name on this birth certificate.
You grew up thinking Mr. Rhodes was your biological father until your parents split up. How old were you then?
I was 4. We were in Chicago with him and his family, but he went to the military. So we were still there until the age of 4.
And then there were fewer. Just when you thought it couldn't get more complicated, Miss Sheets throws in that both her mom and the other potential dad contender, Mr. Smith, have left the building permanently. This leaves more questions than answers in our tale of paternal mystery.
Your mom and Mr. Smith have passed away.
Yeah.
Mr. Rhodes, so just 2 months ago, you got word you weren't their biological father, and that person was the young woman you believed to be your daughter for the last 30-something years. What did you feel like when you got that call?
Can't even describe it, but I'm confident and I know this is my daughter. It's very confusing.
Let's add some feels to the mix. Mr. Rhodes isn't just here for a cameo. He's been a leading man in her life story, supporting her through thick and thin, emotionally and financially. Despite not being listed on any official doc as her pops, he's been dadding like a pro.
I was always there providing, doing things that she needed done as a child, you know, and it felt natural. And I remember her looking at me like, who are you? And I didn't really pay no attention, but I felt it. I didn't feel that closeness from her. From my grandmother telling me this is my child, I've embedded in me, I'm gonna love this child here the best I can, regardless of what's going on. One day when she's grown.
Real talk time. Now, Miss Sheets isn't just solving this daddy dilemma for kicks. She's got a kiddo of her own and needs to clear up the family tree before things get too tense. It's all about setting the record straight for the next generation.
When I was younger, by the adults in my life. And now that I'm, my age, I have a son now. And I just can't let this go on any longer. I have to know who his grandfather is and who my dad is.
But when you get 13 or you get in school, everybody's got one dad, you started to realize life doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
Judges got the floor. With all eyes on her, Judge Lake decides it's time to cut through the suspense and order a paternity test. This could be the big reveal we've all been waiting for, or just another cliffhanger in the ongoing saga of Who's Your Daddy?
I think there is clearly enough evidence to order a paternity test. So the court is going to do just that. We're going to get some answers that I think all so desperately need. So when you leave the court, you are going to go submit to the laboratory testing, and we will reconvene here. I will have the results for you. Court is adjourned.
Can I get a drum roll from the back? It's the moment of truth.
The biological father is Mr. Rhodes.
Really? Oh, man.
I named him.
Why wouldn't I give him your last name if I let you name him?
I wrote the whole thing down. Why would I give him my name and my brother name together and not give him my last name? She wanted me to leave because she was on the phone with her boyfriend.
Right now, it's understandable, but I'm gay, so I can't be the father.
Well, that would be a material fact.
I thought he was a regular friend of hers that was the gay friend. Now I believe he's a bisexual friend.
I left for one night. I came back. The next morning, she was begging me to come back. There was a hickey on her neck about the size of a baseball. She said that her dog had jumped off the bed and hit her, the nose of her dog hit her in the neck.
Ms. Short just dropped a bombshell. She's here because her first crush, Mr. Johnson, doesn't believe he's the dad of her 21-month-old munchkin Jabari. She's juggling being a teen mom and is totally over it, demanding Mr. Johnson to man up already. Mr. Johnson's playing it cool, saying, nope, not doing anything till DNA says daddy. Stick around, it's just heating up.
You and your mother opened your case today because First Love, the defendant, fathered your 21-month-old son. You are a single teenage mother who needs help, and you demand step up and be a father. You are in court with your mother and say you might have been plaintiff's first love, but you weren't anything for her son until the DNA results prove.
Oh boy, grab your popcorn. Ms. Short's spilling the tea on needing Mr. Johnson to step into the dad shoes because, well, her boy needs a dad. Amid her teary plea and the classroom drama vibes, she lays out how tough school plus mom life is. The drama's real, folks, and it's only going to get juicier from here.
He's the father of my son, and my son, as a boy, need a father figure, and I need extra help, like while I'm in school.
She just need to know, is he the father? So he can step up and do the right thing, hopefully. We can't make him. We need to know, because I did him for coming over because I didn't want no feelings to get involved.
Now here's a backstory to munch on. They met on on Facebook. Yep, modern love, right? Mr. Johnson was her first everything. Kiss, boyfriend, you name it. Then boom, she's pregnant, and Mr. Johnson is eyeing someone else. Ms. Short then meets another guy. Plot twist. Right after Mr. Johnson bails.
Me and Mr. Johnson had sex April 23rd. I seen him on Facebook with another female, and he was like, I don't want you, I want her. He was talking about the other female. And I was like, he just left me. After that happened, it was May 3rd. I went out to eat with some friend, met the other boy. And this not my first time meeting, but this the first time we ever had sex.
Wait for it. Mr. Johnson was clueless about the baby. For a hot minute, found out 6 months in, and was ready to do the dad thing. But then, the rumor mill started churning about another potential deity. And Mr. Johnson's like, hold up, what? The plot thickens, my friends, and it's about to go down.
I found out she was pregnant 6 months into her pregnancy. She told my mom and dad she was pregnant. I could be the father. So at the time, I'm thinking that the baby's mine. I got her friends coming to me, talking to me about the other dude. So you know how they making me feel? I was there to see the baby conceive. I was the one that had the baby. I was there. When she called me and asked me for stuff, I was there to help her.
Here comes the struggle bus. Ms. Short talks about how tough it's been flying solo with baby Jabari. No thanks to Mr. Johnson's missing in action wallet. Family tensions are high, and the financial squeeze is on. It's a roller coaster of emotions and wallet woes. Don't touch that dial. The drama dial is about to go up a notch.
He don't pay child support for none of his.
And I didn't go.
It was a point in time where her mama would get into our arguments and tell me not to come back to the house. None of that. If I come over there, she's gonna call the police. That's why I stayed distant.
He had another family member that wasn't even around when this happened, but he knows about everything. How do he know about everything?
Get ready for a head spinner. Court's in deep now, chatting about who did what and when, making heads or tails of when Jabari might have been conceived. It's a timing puzzle with a side of Maury vibes. Everyone's on edge, and the truth is just moments away. Next up, the moment we've all been waiting for.
So when the baby was born, Mr. Johnson, were you there?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you sign the birth certificate?
No, Your Honor, I was finna, but I didn't have my ID to sign the birth certificate.
And he wasn't gonna sign nothing until we found out the truth.
But I felt like they came back when I had him to see did he look like Mr. Johnson. I don't want to go.
And now, the moment of truth. Drum roll, please. But like a funny one. The DNA results are in. And guess what?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Johnson, you are the father.
Buckle up, Buttercup. Miss Powell kicks things off by claiming Mr. Tarver is the pops of her 19-month-old little dude, Joshawn. She's here to prove he's the daddy. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Ms. Poe, you've petitioned the court paternity test to prove to Mr. Tarver that he is your 19-month-old son's father. Mr. Tarver, you say your defense in court is simple. You are not Joshawn's father, and you will prove that today.
Well, twist my arm, why don't ya? Mr. Tarver comes out swinging, totally denying he's the father. He's all set to prove he's not Joshawn's dad, while Miss Powell's not having any of it. Frustrated, he hasn't even coughed up for diapers.
He ain't did nothing. He ain't bought a diaper. He ain't bought him a shoe. He ain't bought him a shirt. He don't do anything for my son.
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm dead serious. He don't do anything for him. Call him once in a while.
Call him every day. I don't see him at least 3-4 times a week.
That's not being a father.
I don't call him
every time he asks, I let him see my son. If I have to go all the way to him, I take him to my son because I don't want my son without father.
And you say he's denying him.
Absolutely.
Talk about a plot twist. Mr. Tarver spills the beans on their party-heavy lifestyle, hinting that maybe, just maybe, Miss Powell wasn't all that faithful. She, of course, calls BS on this. Strap in. It's a bumpy ride to the next scene.
We're young and we wild, you know, and we party a lot. And you know, there was stuff going on around them times involved in parties and sleepovers and other people, period. And she have admitted in the past, but nowadays she'll say it's not true. So when you didn't leave me and go lay with somebody else?
No, I didn't.
The night that you told me you were.
Tarver was when I got there.
5 hours.
The girl was
5 blocks
there.
away. It take 3 hours to pull over 3 dudes in the car.
There was another girl.
Oh boy, here comes the he said, she said mess. They dive into when Miss Powell got pregnant and things get muddy with mismatched dates and confused timelines. She tries to set the record straight, but Tarver isn't buying what she's selling. Just wait, it gets even messier.
When she first got pregnant, she came and told me she was 2 months pregnant. And time went on, about 2-3 months had passed, and she come back and tell me she's 2 months pregnant.
Lying, Your Honor.
Come back. You didn't come back when you was supposed to be 4 months.
I went to the doctor. I went to Planned Parenthood, the clinic, P-test done, and the lady asked me when was my last menstrual cycle. I gave her a date, and she went off the date based on when I told.
You thought soap operas were good? This one's a kicker. They argue over a doctor's visit that might not have even happened. Because, get this, the clinic had moved months ago. Miss Powell insists it was just lunchtime.
She tell me she needs to go to the doctor, so tell her I'll go with her. And we get to the doctor say they closed and they moved. They've been gone for a minute. And she's telling me, even though they said they've been gone 3 months, she was in this doctor 2 weeks ago. How does that make sense?
So the doctor's office says so?
She said she was there 2 weeks ago. When we get to there's a sign on the door saying they moved to another address 3 months ago.
Crank up the drama dial. At Joshun's birth, Tarver was there but wouldn't sign the birth certificate or give his last name to the kiddo. Because get this, he didn't want to be on the hook for child support. Miss Powell is livid, accusing him of bailing the second their son was born.
Because you didn't want me to.
He did not sign the birth certificate. He said he didn't want his name on that. Give my son his last name because he didn't want me to put him on child support. That's what he told me, and he left.
I named him.
Why would I give him your last name if I let you name him?
I wrote the whole thing down. Why would I give him my name and my brother's name together and not give him my last name? She wanted me to leave because she was on the phone with her boyfriend.
You're not gonna believe this. Ms. Jones, Tarver's fiance, steps up and throws another wrench into the works, hinting that maybe there are more dads in the picture than just Tarver. The courtroom's buzzing with whispers and side eyes.
Ms. Jones, you are
his fiance.
Mr. Tarver, fiance.
Yes.
So, ma'am, what do you know about this situation?
To be honest, they say that multiple people was claiming her baby at the time.
You don't even know me. I heard many things about you too.
Multiple people are saying that her child is theirs.
Yes, 2 other people.
Here it comes, the moment of truth.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Tarver, you are Joshun's father.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's what I wanted to know. That's what I wanted as well.
So, we're kicking off with Miss Wilson, throwing some heavy shade. She claims Mr. Phillips couldn't stay faithful to a Wi-Fi network, let alone her, and is adamant that he still swoons over his ex-wife. Despite the cheating circus, he's adamant about proving he's the dad of little Hope with a paternity test.
Always unfaithful to you and still holds a flame for his ex-wife. Yet you claim he is the one who's always accused you of cheating, fathering your daughter. Oh, you are requesting the results of a paternity test to prove he is indeed biological father.
Wait for it, Mr. Phillips swings back. He's convinced Miss Wilson wasn't just working late, but playing house with her coworker, who he's sure fathered her toddler. He points out that the kid is a spitting image of the other guy, not him.
You believe that Ms. Wilson had sexual relations with a coworker, and it is he who fathered her 2-year-old daughter. Just like that man, Mr. Garcia, has also been tested and us in court shortly.
And here's a flashback to simpler times. Not. Miss Wilson reminisces about their casual start, which was all about Netflix and chill, minus the Netflix. She lays it out that a fling based purely on booty calls set them up for a trust-free, accusation-packed thrill ride. Next up, watch how this casual fling turns into a full-blown telenovela.
Just having sex, when you build a relationship like
That's pretty together. So it started off as a non-committal sexual relationship.
Correct. Of course, you're gonna have extreme trust issues. 7 years later, it was you couldn't go to the store without
someone else having sex or doing something.
Oh boy, here comes the club drama. Mr. Phillips recounts a supposedly scandalous night out where Miss Wilson was allegedly turning the heat up with some random dude. According to him, she was practically auditioning for a tango contest right there in the club.
During that point in time, she led me to believe that I was the only man that she was sexually involved with. One of my friends was inside the club with her, making love in the club. She was tongue kissing, she was grappling to the 10 with a guy. Tongue all in the mouth, holding down.
Just when it feels like Cheaters Live edition, the judge swoops in. She reminds everyone that they're not here to hand out relationship advice, but to figure out who's Hope's daddy.
Cheating is not cheating court, it's paternity court. While you're in a relationship or while you were not, it's about determining whether it's in the relationship or out of the relationship still could be relevant.
Right,
it is
I understand, it is.
Things get a smidge serious here. Guess what they found in the closet? Ex-wife memorabilia. That's right, Miss Wilson stumbles upon a stash of old love letters and photos, sparking a whole new level of drama.
We will leave everything behind. I had my baby probably about 2 months or a month after we moved in, so I didn't really, in the new place, in our closet.
It was things that I did not know.
Her shoes, I mean, just so much stuff. So I came to him and I asked him, can you get rid of her stuff?
Enter stage left, Mr. Garcia, a co-worker wrapped up in this mess. He strolls into court and his testimony about just showing her how to kiss is sitcom gold. Hold on to your seats because Mr. Garcia's got some tricks up his sleeve.
You were with Ms. Wilson in the club, that you were kissing in the club.
I was.
Were
we
you
weren't
kissing?
She was showing me how to kiss.
I'm a good teacher.
And she really showed me how to kiss.
So you were at school getting a lesson.
That is correct, Your Honor.
You won't believe this bombshell. Mr. Garcia is gay. That's right. The man everyone thought was the father throws a curveball that leaves Jaws on the floor. As the dust settles, get ready for another twist that's straight out of a daytime drama.
I'm gay, so I can't be the father.
Well, that would be a material fact.
I thought he was a regular. Now I believe he's a bisexual friend. If you're attracted to me, because that's what I was under the influence of believing in the beginning, where I was betrayed.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for.
Mr. Phillip, you are her father.
Can you believe this mess? Ms. Reeves pops into court to claim Mr. Silva is the baby daddy of her kiddo. Legend, Silva's all, nope, not me. They've been doing this dance for 3 years, with Silva dodging daddy duties like a pro. This DNA drama has turned their love life into an on-again, off-again soap opera, pushing them to get a test to see if they can stop the bickering and move on.
You are here today to prove that the defendant, Mr. Silva, is the biological father of your 7-month-old son. You were involved in a paternity case on Love and Hip Atlanta in support of your sister, who took a DNA test to prove paternity of her child, because you say there is absolutely no way you are the biological father of plaintiff's son.
Holy moly, did you catch that? Ms. Reeves spills the beans on how Silva's doubt game has her emotional roller coaster doing loops. Silva, meanwhile, is stuck in the past, thinking guys can play the field, but ladies can't. It's all about double standards and denial with this guy.
Well, it's affected everything in my life. We've been on and off for about 3 years. Every single time I turn around, it's always, oh, are you sure that he's my baby? Yes, I'm 100% sure. Like, why do you keep asking me? So I feel like the best way for us to be able to do this, for us to go ahead and get a DNA test, make sure that Legend is the biological son for him.
So you have doubts as well?
No, I don't have doubts, but he does.
Did he really just say that? Court turns into a medieval drama when Silva starts spouting stuff about men being born rulers and conquerors. Like, what century are we in, dude? The judge isn't having any of it and throws some serious shade his way. Keep your eyes peeled. The next scene is a doozy.
You aren't the only man that feels like that.
Well, Your Honor,
Feels like that.
God created men to conquer, to overrule. A woman cannot empower men.
What are we on, Game of Thrones? What are we talking about? First of all, you said God created men to conquer,
To
and what
rule,
else?
conquer, and women
To rule.
cannot power.
You're ridiculous.
Brace yourselves for this twist. After a breakup, Ms. Reeves finds out she's expecting and tells Silva, who immediately goes into doubt mode because they were on a break. Cue the suspicion as he discovers she's changed her phone password. Trust issues much? The plot thickens, so stay tuned.
Well, we was broken up at the time. Immediately, as soon as I told him that I was pregnant, he was like, okay, with who?
We were broken up for 4 weeks, Your Honor. I caught her texting her ex. I caught them texting multiple times. She claims they're just friends. One day, I just decided to try to go in her phone, and she changed her password on me. She was in the bathroom when I was trying to get in there, and I thought I typed it in wrong. Tried 2-3 more times until it locked me out.
Grab your popcorn, folks. As the baby's due date approaches, Silva's still on the fence about fatherhood, but shows up at the birth to keep things cool. He signs the birth certificate, but feels pressured by her family's stink eyes. You won't believe what's next. It's a real cliffhanger.
Throughout the whole time, I'm telling her I want a DNA test. In the hospital, none but her family was there. I was by myself. I came in. As soon as Legend was born, the doctor came in the room straight to me and gave me the paper. I didn't want to make her look bad.
So you signed the birth certificate?
Yes, I felt pressure to sign.
And if you start talking about DNA test and not birth certificate, it sheds a negative light on her.
This is too much. They're both itching for the DNA results, hoping it'll end their constant squabbling. Silva's fingers are crossed for good news, while Reeves dreads the possibility of being left in the lurch. Fasten your seatbelts, because the results are about to drop, and you won't want to miss this bombshell.
You have a chance to be honest about that in this moment before we go to the result.
Yeah, I don't have any doubts. I'm just a little bit upset if he feels like he's not his and he doesn't want to be with me anymore. I feel like with or without Legend, our relationship is, we can make it be good the way that it was. Like, if we didn't have a baby, it's that him saying like, hey, well, if we didn't have a baby, we wouldn't be together right now.
Are you ready for this reveal?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Silva, you are the father.
Can you believe this opener? Mr. Wilson kicks things off by lamenting about his almost over marriage, pointing fingers at his wife's lax attitude towards cheating. He claims fidelity to her seems more like a suggestion rather than a rule, setting the stage for a tumultuous episode.
Mr. Wilson, you are on the verge of a divorce because your wife believes that fidelity is optional. You say that during your marriage, she cheated on you with both friend exes, which you believe resulted in the birth of her son, 8-month-old Waylon. You say you are not his biological father, and you intend to prove that today.
Plot twist alert. Mrs. Wilson fesses up to her side adventures, but insists Mr. Wilson is indeed Waylon's dad, accusing him of dodging diaper duty by playing the doubt card. Hold on to your popcorn. Her next line is a doozy.
Mrs. Wilson, while you admit to stepping out on your husband, you claim Mr. Wilson knows full well he is baby Waylon's father and is only denying him in an attempt to shirk his responsibilities.
Here's where it gets spicy. The crowd gasps as Mr. Wilson delves into the early days of deception, going back to when their romance began. He recounts a tale of a suspiciously large Vicky explained away as an innocent bump by the dog. Keep watching. The excuses get even wilder.
She is a cheater. She's cheated from 2 weeks of us being together in the beginning. There was a time when we got in an argument. She told me to leave. I left for one night. I came back. The next morning, she was begging me to come back. There was a hickey on her neck about the size of a baseball. She said that her dog had jumped off the bed and hit her. The nose of her dog hit her in the neck.
It's getting hot in here. The conversation heats up with Mrs. Wilson, admitting she wasn't the only one stepping out. Mr. Wilson was playing the field too. Their blame game hints at a marriage more tangled than headphone cords.
All that is true. He also cheated. He did the same thing. He's not innocent. He wants to act like he's not Waylon's daddy, and he is.
But you understand that the reason why we're here is because of the paternity of your baby. If you're gonna do the tit for tat, if you're gonna do the back, because we've got a baby now 8 months old, we don't know for certain who his father is.
Grab your tissues, folks. Mr. Wilson shares a sob story about Valentine's Day gone wrong when he discovers through a relative's boyfriend that his wife planned to leave him after he shows up with flowers.
On Valentine's Day, I went and bought her some flowers. We were gonna meet at a family member's house of mine. I got there before she did, and my family member's boyfriend at the time had told me that she was there a couple days before Valentine's Day, telling them that she was gonna leave me that following Friday. So I felt stupid.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any messier, Mr. Wilson finds texts between his wife and his buddy, exposing an affair right after the Valentine's debacle. The plot thickens and the tea is piping hot.
So I get on social media thinking it's my social media. It was still logged in his stuff, thinking I'm in mine, and I'm reading messages that I know I didn't send. And it was her and him texting, her telling him to ask if he could borrow my car so he could come see her. So I call her and I ask her about it, and she says she didn't say anything. She just hung up.
When did this happen?
Maybe 3 weeks.
So did you start sleeping with your husband's friend?
Yes, I did.
Oh boy, here she goes. Mrs. Wilson drops the bombshell that she did, in fact, sleep with Mr. Wilson's friend, lining up a little too perfectly with baby Waylon's conception timeline. But hold the phone, there's more scandal coming up.
We ended up getting into a fight, and I ended up leaving. They stayed together after that.
And now you believe he is Waylon's biological father. Ms. Wilson, you testified that this started with the friend in April.
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's look at the conception dates and see what's going on here.
Cue the dramatic music. As they hash out when Waylon was conceived, Mrs. Wilson half admits Mr. Wilson might not be the dad after all. This admission is a game change. Watch out for the next bombshell. It's a biggie.
There is a possibility. I'm not sit here and act like there's not, but chances of him being the other person's friend is slim.
So after you hear that testimony, Mr. Wilson, in fact, April 1st to April 7th is the window of time that Waylon was conceived. Do you have a relationship with Waylon?
No, Your Honor. The whole time going through her pregnancy, she was with him.
And here's the big reveal.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Wilson, you are the father.
Can you even handle this? Mr. Hooks is up in arms, saying Ms. Payne has been on his case for 3 years, accusing him of being the dad of her kiddo, Neve. He's pretty sure today's test results will let him shake off her claims once and for all. The court's heating up, folks, and you won't believe the zingers that come next.
Mr. Hook, you say for 3 long years the defendant, Ms. Payne, has been falsely accusing you of fathering her 3-year-old daughter, Neve. I believe today's results will finally free you from her allegation.
Hold on to your coffee, because Ms. Hooks just threw some serious shade. She's calling Ms. Payne a gold digger, thinking she's after her son's non-existent riches. He's 27 years her senior. The crowd's gasping like they just saw a ghost, setting up a showdown that's juicier than a daytime soap.
Ms. Hook, you say your son is being taken advantage of by a gold digger who is 27 years his junior. Ms. Payne, you say Mr. Hooks is Nevaeh's father, and today you intend to prove it to him and his mommy.
You've got to hear this. When Ms. Hooks asks her son about his finances, he spills the beans. He's flat broke. So much for being a gold mine, right? This twist adds a splash of humor to the drama, making everyone chuckle. But hang tight, the revelations are just getting started.
I'm struggling, y'all. I don't have no money.
But what you thought, you're saying you thought, she probably thought since you were an older man established, it would be somebody that could take care of her. Ain't a gold digger if you ain't got no gold.
This is too good. Ms. Payne looks like she's about to burst as the judge digs deeper, trying to get her to spill her guts. Her hesitance adds an extra layer of suspense to the mix, making everyone lean in closer. You just know something big's about to drop, and trust me, it's worth the wait.
What are you feeling in this moment? I can see in your eyes.
You accuse my son of being the father of your child, and I know he's not the father of your child. Your child don't look nothing like my son. My son had 5 children, and they all look like him, and they got some of me.
You won't believe how these two met. It's straight out of a quirky rom-com. Mr. Hooks paints a picture of a fateful encounter that turned into an instant live-in situation. This backstory adds some real spice to the episode, hinting at a whirlwind of poor decisions. Buckle up because the roller coaster coaster is just taking off.
I met her June in 2014. I was driving and I was going to a deli store and I happened to see her on the corner like sipping on a margarita. So I started to talking to her. I was like, why you out here by yourself sipping on that? And she was like, she with her boyfriend. I said, he's okay seeing you talking to me? She told me that she just got into a fight, an argument with her boyfriend, another man. So I said, well, you want to come take a ride with me?
Talk about moving fast. Mr. Hooks and Ms. Payne went from strangers to housemates in a blink. It's like they were trying to set a speed record for the fastest relationship progression ever. Their impulsive life choices are the gift that keeps on giving in this courtroom saga. Stay tuned because the plot thickens even more.
Is this true? Is this how you and Mr. Hooks met?
Yes, Your Honor.
So did this turn into a relationship after this? You have this one day, was it a one-night stand, or did you see each other again?
No, he let me move in with him the next day.
Meet him at the store, you have sex with him at his house, and then he says you can move in with him.
Whoa, plot twist. Another guy's name is on Nevaeh's birth certificate, not Mr. Hooks. This bombshell sends ripples through the courtroom, cranking up the drama to new heights. Everyone's jaws hit the floor, and you can bet your bottom dollar the next twist is just around the corner.
You submitted Nevaeh's birth certificate to the court, and under her name, there is a father's name. We blurred it out, but that's your ex's name.
Yes, Your Honor.
So that tells you I'm not the father.
Tells me you ain't got no business going out with a young girl that's not even mature enough to come in this courtroom, testify, not for her 3-week-old child, her 3-year-old child.
Judge Lake isn't pulling any punches today. She lays into Mr. Hooks for his questionable life choices that led them all here. Her scolding is like a sitcom roast, except it's real life, and there's a kid involved. The tension is palpable, and just when you think it can't get any more intense, the climax is up next. Get ready for the big reveal.
The problem about meeting somebody at the store, 5 minutes, inviting them into your car, taking them back to your house, and having unprotected sex with them, a young woman who's just 5 years away from being a child. You have other things you could be doing with your time and with your life.
Yes.
Here it comes, a big moment.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Hook, you are the father.
I saw him and his wife in a tavern, and I walked up to him and say, hey, baby dad, we have a child together, and they're looking at me like I'm crazy. He's like, no, I don't have any. So I'm like, yeah, we have a 10-year-old child together.
Greg, why would you do that like that?
What do you mean?
He knew I was dealing with other men because I was very honest with Roberts, Mr. Drumgold, up front. I was super honest with him, and I told him, I'm doing me, you doing you, because I know how you get down, period. When I was all in for it with him, he was not wanting no parts of me.
My mother walked in the door, my mother walked by, and then I forgot and left her clothes there, her shoes in the living room, and she opened up the closet door.
That's what you call busted.
So, kicking things off with a bang, Miss Craig spills the tea that this courtroom drama is her last shot at figuring out who she really is. She's haunted by not knowing if the guy she's been calling dad all her life is actually her dad. As she shares her deep emotional struggle and the quest for her true identity, you'll want to stick around because things are about to get even juicier.
Miss Craig, you say that today is your last hope in discovering your true identity. Now, you state that one question continually haunts: is the man you've been calling dad for most of your life really your biological father?
Things heat up when Miss Craig's mom, Janelle, admits to a bit of a wild past with multiple partners around the time Miss Craig was conceived, but she's puzzled why her daughter is still on this mystery hunt. Then, Mr. Thompson drops a bombshell that he thought he was the dad until a wild twist made him doubt everything. And trust me, you haven't seen anything. The next part is a real doozy.
Miss Janelle Craig, you are Miss Mother. You admit to sleeping with more than one man at the time your daughter was conceived, yet you argue you don't understand why she's still looking for answers. Mr. Thompson, you say you always assumed you were Miss Craig's father, but then you claim a startling revelation caused you to question paternity.
Just when you think it can't get more tangled, Miss Craig takes us on a roller coaster back to her childhood days of daddy confusion, including a stern stop calling him daddy from her aunt. This chaos traces back to when Mr. Thompson popped into her life at 10, sparking all sorts of questions about who's who in her family tree. The emotional stakes are about to skyrocket, so don't go anywhere.
I've been going through too much, in and out of foster homes, back and forth. When I was about 5, there was a man in my life. He was said to be my father. I can remember calling him daddy, and my auntie like, don't call him daddy anymore, because that's not your dad. And I couldn't understand why. Like, as a child, I couldn't understand why.
Out of nowhere, Janelle Craig faces off with Mr. Thompson in a tavern, claiming he's the dad right in front of his wife, only to get shut down with a big fat nope. This public showdown just adds more spice to the already sizzling pot of family secrets. Keep watching. The drama level is just about to explode.
When she was, I think, 10, I saw him and his wife in a tavern,
dad. And I walked up to him, say, hey, baby dad, we have a child together. And they're looking at me like I'm crazy. He's like, no, I don't have any. So I'm like, yeah, we have a 10-year-old child together.
Craig, why would you do that like that?
What do you mean?
In a twist of fate, Mr. Thompson gets a call from Miss Craig's aunt, pulling him back into the fray because her mom was MIA. Despite his reservations, he dives back in to try and patch things up with Miss Craig, showcasing the messy road to rekindling family ties. And you better believe it, what's coming next is going to blow the lid off this pot.
Chanel auntie had gave me a call and told me that Chanel needed me and told me that her mother was on the way and she needed me bad. And she asked me if I come back and get into her life. That's what I did, because I felt that it's a possible chance that she was.
So you came back, and so you started a relationship with her?
She wouldn't come with me alone.
Pouring her heart out, Miss Craig talks about how this whole paternity circus has been a major emotional drain, especially dealing with her on and off dad and her distant mom. This part of the saga really tugs at the heartstrings, showing just how deep family wounds can go. Buckle up, because the emotional roller coaster is about to hit a major drop.
I feel hurt by the whole situation. I feel like I got up for their mistake. They don't even understand like how bad it feels to me that
Well, tell them.
I gotta go through this. Y'all hurt my feelings, for real, Mom.
Well, I apologize. That was never my intentions to hurt you. Life, it comes with up and downs, and it comes with hurt.
Finally, the moment of truth.
Miss Craig, Mr. Thompson is not your father.
Sorry, Neil. You can give me a hug.
Early fireworks. Miss Souses is throwing shade, claiming Mr. Payne's mama is the reason he's denying he's the daddy to baby Aleliana. She's pushing to slap his name on that birth certificate stat. Watch how they stir the pot next.
Miss Souses, you have dragged Bennett into court today because you say it's his mother's fault he's denying your 10-month-old daughter, Aleliana. You claim when the DNA results prove he is the father, you want the defendant's name added to her birth certificate.
Talk about a hot mess. Ms. Souses spills the tea on their on-again, off-again love saga, pinning him as a jealous mess. Meanwhile, he and his mom tag team, calling her sneaky. The plot thickens, and oh boy, you ain't seen nothing yet.
So jealous and insecure about himself. Like, everywhere I go, he think I'm doing something. If I go to the store, I gotta be back in a certain time. Like, he's just crazy.
She honest, she lying. She been out there, Facebook messages.
You guys, they're both jealous.
Of course I'm jealous. You were my boyfriend for like almost years.
And why would not be
you guys
jealous?
do the same thing to each other.
All right.
How old are you guys?
I'm 19.
I'm 20.
Oh, the drama ramps up. Mr. Payne dishes out a tale of betrayal as Ms. Souses hit the movies with another dude right after they got chatty. She claps back about his escapades, turning the courtroom into a reality show. Grab your popcorn, because there's more juicy stuff ahead.
The first day after we started talking, she went to the movies with some other guy. Facebook messages telling her ex she loved this, and
Yeah,
that.
but the next day you did something with another girl and you was just telling your ex you loved her. So
No,
what's the difference?
you lying in court? Crazy.
Miss Souses, you did contact your ex?
Yeah, I said I care for him. I never said I love. He told his ex he loved her, and I did go to the movies with a boy, okay?
Things get real. Amidst all the back and forth about their rocky romance, the bombshell drops, pregnancy. But Mr. Payne is all about that DNA life before he signs on his dad. The tension's building, and just wait for what's next.
He was happy for a minute, and then, I don't know, I guess there we go with the DNA test stuff, so.
I was happy and shocked at the same time, because I felt like it happened fast, because we had just got back together.
Yes.
How soon after you got back together?
It seemed like right away. It seemed like that's the only reason why I questioned it, because the first time she was pregnant twice, I knew without a doubt it was his.
Family feud time. Both their clans get into the mudslinging, debating who did what and when. It's like a soap opera with no commercial breaks. The chaos is just ramping up, so keep your eyes peeled.
They both do things to each other. It seems like they go tit for tat. Oh, you talking to a guy? I'm gonna go talk to this girl. God, they do this.
Yes, I did it. Yeah, I'm not innocent.
This is
but
what
I'm not
they
gonna
do.
put no
Me
baby
neither.
on
I'm
something that's not yours.
innocent either. But I wasn't though, because you wanted to stay away.
Yes, I did.
So what happened during the pregnancy?
Time when someone came up to me in the supermarket and, yeah, well, you're right to want a DNA test because she moves around. This lady she knows came home and told him, and he told her.
Oh, the struggle bus has arrived. These two can't figure out how to co-parent without throwing shade. It's a he said, she said showdown with baby caught in the middle. And guess what? The roller coaster is only getting loopier.
She didn't have to be alone. She chose to.
Yup,
That was on
because
her.
who was
She
there
chose
for
to.
me?
Mr. Payne says you didn't have to be alone.
Because I've been independent for so long, so many years by myself. I was used to it, so it was like.
Did you want him to be there and help you?
Yes, I did.
I'm confused as to why you didn't allow him to help.
I did. We just argued too much, which was too much for around my daughter, and I didn't want that all around.
Here we go again. They rehash their breakup and patch up timing, which just so happens to coincide with the baby making. Mr. Payne's got doubts, and they're airing out all their dirty laundry in front of the judge. Stick around, because the finale's coming up.
So you were broken up or on a break,
And then we
and
got back
she was
together.
dating other people, you were dating
I wasn't
other
dating
people.
I can't say she dating anybody, but I know we was both. I seen her at a party with a dude, and that was that was a couple weeks before we got back together. That's the last thing I could say.
Were you having sex during the breakup?
No, we don't talk to each other until we decide we miss each other. Then that's when we have sex.
Emotional emotional roller coaster alert. The absence of Mr. Payne's John Hancock on the birth certificate is a major plot point, igniting more fireworks about his role in baby Aleliana's life. But don't go anywhere. The best is yet to come.
You say he's not on Aleliana's birth certificate.
Yes, that's another reason why I didn't let him take her as much.
I told him if you have any doubts, you can't sign it if you have any doubts. Get the DNA test first, like he's
sad that it took 10 more to happen, but at least it can happen today. And if child, I'm gonna step all the way.
Good.
All the way.
100%. You don't gotta say good. You know what I'm gonna do.
Finally, some answers. Judge Lake hands down the DNA verdict, and guess what?
It has been determined by this court. Payne, you are father.
Thank you.
I'm happy. Now I'm happy. Now I can be happy.
Buckle up. Here it goes. Ms. Holman throws down the gauntlet in court today, claiming Mr. Drumgold is playing dodgeball with his responsibilities towards their 2-month-old daughter, Alani. She's banking on the DNA test to tag him as the dad. And oh, just wait till you hear what Mr. Drumgold has to say next.
Ms. Holman, you opened this case against Mr. Drumgold because you claim he denies fathering your 2-month-old daughter, Alani. You want Mr. Drumgold to step up to today's result, prove what you believe. He is the father.
Here comes the curveball. Mr. Drumgold fires back, totally convinced he couldn't be the daddy. According to him, Ms. Holman wasn't exactly sitting at home knitting. She had a couple other buddies at the time of conception. Strap in, because this roller coaster is just getting started.
Mr. Drumgold, you claim there is no way you are her daughter's father because you know for a fact Ms. Holman was sleeping with at least 2 other men at the time of conception. And you believe either of those 2 men could be Alani's father.
Talk about selective hearing. The court learns that Mr. Drumgold is all ears when it's party time, but suddenly goes deaf when it's about diaper duty. He's all about the fun calls, but mention baby Alani, and it's like talking to a brick wall. Keep your eyes peeled. The next part is even juicier.
So you feel like he's denying the baby?
Yes.
Incident and 2 other gentlemen that I know during the time that she supposed to had Alani that she was dealing with.
At the same time, me and Mr. Drumgold were never in a relationship. We have always had a relationship. The fact that he knew that there was a possibility he could have been Alani's father, he should have made some type of effort. He said he showed up at my house to bring me something, but someone else was there, so he decided to leave.
Oh, the drama unfolds. Ms. Holman reminisces about their spicy first meeting. Mr. Drumgold was quite the charmer, apparently. She fell for his swagger faster than a cat on a hot tin roof. But hang tight, because there's more tea coming your way.
So when I met Mr. Drumgold, he's a party promoter, and I used to be I'm a dancer. I was a dancer for him. I met him through a mutual friend, a family member. Instantly, Mr. Drumgold was delicious. He just oozed bossness, and I told him, I got to have you. Like,
oh, that's
like,
what you told him?
Yes, he said, I'm feeling you too. So we made it from there.
So why did it never become a relationship?
Time I was in a relationship.
You won't believe this. Mr. Drumgold spills the beans about walking in on another dude getting cozy with Ms. Holman. That throws a big old wrench in the Who's Your Daddy mystery.
As far
Your Honor, I came to her mother's house and another man was rubbing her belly.
He knew I was dealing with other men because I was very honest with Robert, Mr. Drumgold, up front. I was super honest with him, and I told him, I'm doing me, you doing you, because I know how you get down, period. When I was all in for it with him, he was not wanting no parts of me.
You were doing you, and he's doing him.
Absolutely.
Enter Mr. Rich, the plot thickener. He's been in the on and off game with Ms. Holman for years and thought maybe, just maybe, he might be Alani's pops. The plot thickens. Don't blink now, because what's coming up will drop your jaw.
How did you 2 meet?
We met at a party back in 2016. She gave me a lap dance and we ended up having sex.
And how long did the sexual relationship last?
It was off and on. It's been off and on for the last 4 years.
Still in a sexual relationship now. Sir, did she tell you when she was pregnant with Alani that Alani was your child?
Yes, she did.
Grab your tissues, folks. Mr. Rich gets all in his feels about Alani, even though he's not sure if he's the father. He's ready to play dad no matter what the test says, because let's face it, he's smitten. What comes next will tug at your heartstrings even more.
Through the pole pregnancy, I still had love for this woman. It wasn't until after Alani was born when I really fell in love with that child and made up my mind I was gonna be there.
Well, how would you even tell me? There ain't no possibility that it could be nobody else. If he wasn't in the picture, then why is he here?
Rich to come back. I knew that Rich wasn't the father, but I knew that he would be there for me. I knew he loved me.
Talk about a family tree with more branches than a sequoia. Miss Nelson lays out her wild family situation, noting the mismatch between her heartfelt daddy-o and the guy on her birth certificate. Then, out of the blue, some dude slides into her DMs on Facebook.
Why other man's name is on Ms. Nelson's birth certificate? Prove to her you are indeed her father.
The courtroom hits peak suspense. They whip out Miss Nelson. Doesn't stop here, folks.
So then you get a message, another man, saying he's your father.
I got a message from a man named Christopher Lancaster saying that I'm your dad. He was sorry for not being in my life. He left 2 numbers on there, contacted both those numbers. The numbers were disconnected because it was that he had left me the message. It was in my other's box on Facebook. That's how he messaged me on Facebook.
Mr. Sterling takes the stage to spill the beans about his old flame with Miss Nelson's mom and and why he ghosted, blaming it on life choices and some family gatekeeping. Emotional alert, the feels are about to get real.
Your name is Christopher Sterling. Did she get this message from a Christopher Lancaster? Do you know that person?
Yes, ma'am. I put that message on Facebook. The reason being, I had problems with other people was looking for my daughter.
Didn't see that coming, did ya? Plot twist of the day, Mr. Sterling announces he's actually Vincent Preston Nelson, the dude on the birth cert. The courtroom's jaws hit the floor. You won't believe the drama that's about to unfold here. Ms. Walker steps up with a tale about her son, Delante's maybe baby, Delante Royal, and the big question mark after her son's tragic exit stage left. She's here fishing for DNA proof to see if she can call this kiddo her grandson. Talk about an emotional roller coaster, right? The stakes are sky high, given the soap opera-worthy backstory. And trust me, you'll want to stick around for the next bit.
Ms. Walker, you say before your son Delante's tragic death, he had doubts that he had fathered the defendant's 1-year-old son, Delante Royal. You claim you need today's DNA results so you can embrace this child as your grandson. Ms. Royal, you claim that you are 100% positive that Ms. Walker's deceased son is biological father of your child, and today's results will prove paternity.
Hold on to your popcorn, folks. Ms. Walker dives deep into the feels train with a story about her son's untimely demise and his leftover doubts about whether he was actually a dad. She's all about finding closure and possibly welcoming this little one into the family fold, mentioning how heavy this whole scenario is weighing on her. The judge nods along, totally getting the emotional turmoil. Just when you think it can't get more intense, the next scene takes it up a notch.
Well, Your Honor, my son was tragically murdered. The day of his passing, my son left something behind with me, and that was his doubt. And I am here today to get the doubt taken care of. Her child, her son, I don't know if that's my grandchild or not. And it hurts. So I would love to embrace that child.
Man, the vibes here are intense. Ms. Walker lays out how much her fam digs Ms. Royal's little dude, but there's a big old cloud of doubt raining on their love parade. They're all about needing rock-solid answers to wash away the uncertainty so they can fully open their arms to the type. You can practically feel the family tug-of-war going on. Buckle up, because the story takes a wild turn just around the corner.
We love her son, but we just can't go all the way. We can't be 100%. Because we just don't know. We need those answers. We need to know. My son would have wanted that. He did want that. You know, he had doubt.
Touched me when you said your son left something behind.
Yes, he did.
And we want to say he left a son.
Right.
Cue the drama music. Ms. Royal steps up to defend her honor, swearing up and down that Delante was indeed the baby daddy. No questions asked. She recounts a spicy tale of text messages and suspicions that got Delante wondering if he was the father after all. Ms. Royal is sticking to her guns, claiming loyalty through and through. Just wait till you hear what comes next. It's a doozy.
The reason why I say that, I have been completely loyal to him. There's no other person that can say, this may be my child. I am 100% sure that this is Delante's son.
I remember one day, to fuel his doubt, they got in an argument. He seen text messages between her and a guy around the time when she conceived, and so he doubted.
Whoa, things just got real in the delivery room. Picture this, Delante is there, the baby pops out, and boom, drama bomb. He publicly says no thanks to a DNA test to keep the peace, but whispers to his mama later that yep, he's gonna need that test after all. This scene has personal drama and public facades clashing in a spectacular fashion. And yup, there's more juice coming up.
The day of the birth, we're all in there, we're all happy. It was her family member. He embraced that child. He kissed the baby on the forehead and everything. She asked him, she said, he laid his head on my shoulder. He said, first he said, Mom, I think I'm gonna throw up when he seen the baby. You know, he looked around, seen her family members, he told her no. But then later on that day, he looked at me and Mom said, yeah, I need a DNA test.
You're not gonna believe this twist. After the baby's grand entrance, Delante can't shake off his nagging doubts and confesses to his mom that he indeed wants that DNA test stat. This sneak peek into his private concerns versus his public face just thickens the plot. Meanwhile, Ms. Royal is out of the loop, making the trust issues even spicier. The big reveal is up next. It's a jaw-dropper.
I didn't care about the doubt. He named my child after him.
It's your testimony. The reason why I can him do you want one is because I knew it was his child. So if you want one, let's get it so let's get it done.
You know,
why he didn't sign a birth certificate, Your Honor?
He didn't sign it because he didn't have his ID. When we kept telling him he was being irresponsible, that was not my fault.
Everyone in the courtroom is on the edge of their seats.
It has been determined by this court. The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Monique Walker, Delante Royal is 99.99.
Period.
You are related.
Here's the scoop. Ms. Alston kicks things off with a bang, stating her case to prove Mr. Holmes is actually her biological dad. She's totally sure about it despite Mr. Holmes waving the birth certificate and child support papers like a flag at a football game, insisting Mr. Alston is her real dad.
Come to court to prove to the defendant, Mr. Holmes, whom you first met at the age of 15, that you are his biological daughter. You say there's no way she's your child, and today the DNA will prove your case. You say her biological father is David Alston, the man who is on her birth certificate and paid child support for her.
Just when you thought it was simple, Mr. Holmes throws a curveball, doubting he's Ms. Alston's father, with tales of his brief flings with her mom. His recounts are more casual than a Sunday morning, and his skepticism stems from being out of the loop about Ms. Alston until she was practically all grown up.
Because Miss Alston's mother, back in the day, she was like, because I met her at the school bus stop. She was in high school. 2 days later, after I met her, I had sex. I called her again. A couple days later, asked her to come back, and we had sex again. So it was kind of like a booty call. Yeah, I didn't know nothing about her until 15 years later. So I kind of felt that she wasn't mine because I didn't even know that she exists until that time.
Grab your tissues, folks. Ms. Alston dives deep into her emotional bag of woes, chatting about her daddy issues with Mr. Alston, the man she thought was her pops. This bit is more tangled than last year's Christmas lights, showing us just how messy family secrets can be.
As to why your mother said one man was your father, then another man, did she ever give you a reason?
She never did. When she told me and I met Miss Jenny, when they took me in as a family, I just ran with it because she said he was my dad.
Did you run with it because you had such a difficult relationship with Mr. Alston, needed somewhere to run?
Yes, Your Honor.
You won't see this coming. Enter Mr. Alston, strutting into court like he owns the place, fully convinced he's the daddy. His shock at the mere suggestion of not being the father could win him an Oscar.
She says she was told for the first 15 years of her life that you were her biological father, and then all of a sudden she was given another name.
15 years ago? I just found out what?
So you're saying that up until recently, you still considered her your daughter?
Yes, that's my daughter. There's no way in the world I would not think.
He calls me his daughter sitting here, never been a dad to me.
And the plot thickens. As if we're in the middle of a soap opera, Mr. Holmes and Mr. Alston go head-to-head, slinging mud about who did what for Ms. Alston. This showdown is juicier than a high school gossip session.
You don't care for him because you feel like he rejected you when you needed help?
Yes, it is. I mean, 16 years, he found out something different. I was like, wow.
If you knew that she was your daughter, it shouldn't even matter. You should never, that's why I feel the way I feel, man. If you'll claim her, you don't want to have nothing to do with her. If that's your daughter,
I tried several times to have her to move in with her.
If you know for sure deep down in your heart, you don't turn her away, man.
Hold the phone, folks.
Mr. Alston, you are not Alston.
Get the...
Why is she doing that?
Lord have mercy.